Greetings and welcome to the Saroth Image Experiment, a very rare live stream from me because I hate them and I'm crap at them, but welcome. And what I was planning to do tonight was play a little guitar, although I can't really play guitar, but I mean you don't really have to be able to play to get a sound out of it. I'm of the Thurston Moore school of guitar playing. And I'd also like to talk about like past guests, future guests, friends that I've met along the way. My channel has been going for, I think I started in the summer of 2018 and it's now 2022 autumn. And wow, what a fun journey it's been. It all started with a very intense 11 dried grams. Hey Bobby, 111. All started with a very intense mushroom trip. 11 dried grams of proper grass, wild mushrooms. I've noticed that my friend, breeds them in a greenhouse, and they're far milder. So there's something about those wild mushrooms that are really quite awesome and scary at times. And I had a lot of psychic baggage at that time with the addiction and all that shit, and that really cleared me. And it said, my kind of jokey nickname with my magical partner Soleil La was Saroth the Mage, because we used to channel this entity called Thosis, who is a mixture between, hey, is that Sarlocks? Sure is. Hi dude. We used to channel this entity. Well, I used to channel this entity. It started off as Thoth or Toth, as some people. I was like, this can't really be like the Toth. And then we'd been doing Isis. We actually started with the Isis magic, and the two kind of morphed, became Thosis. Theosis means becoming God, all that kind of stuff. So we were kind of deep into the druggy mysticism at that point. So on that last, it was the summer equinox that we did that trip. And then I had another one at Samhain, or is it supposed to be called Samhain, but it doesn't make any sense because it's got an M in it. So I had quite a I wouldn't say horrific, but it was very intense because it was All Saints Eve when the veil is thin, and I got some very magic kind of spirits talking to me. They were like, we have no tongues to speak. We're hungry, we are thirsty, honour the old gods. There was some of the Egyptian pantheon, but I'm totally drifting towards the Norse pantheon now. I don't know why, it's the mushrooms are leading me that way, the runes and all that stuff. So unfortunately, apparently runes are associated with right-wing neo-Nazi organisations, which I couldn't be fucking further from, let me state that clear. I'm very much a leftist. I think that we all should share. So let me play a quick refrain on the guitar, and then if you've got any questions, please ask questions. I'm going to do like a quick book review of, for me, the most important occult books of recent years. But let me bore you with a little. No, I haven't had this guitar for long. I've only had it since like April, and I think I'm doing okay. I ordered a Fender foot switch so that I wouldn't, so I could change the effect with a pedal, and I could also loop, so you can record some chords, and then you can play over the top of it. I've ordered 3, 2 from one supplier, 1 from another supplier. They've all had exactly the same fault, so I'm wondering, is it my amp? I don't know, but the amp sounds fine. Anyway, I just love electric guitar. I've always loved it. I was too to learn. I am rather drunk now, of course, but I've got a day off tomorrow, so that's fine. That's what you get when you play in front of a live audience. So, it feels like I've come full circle in many ways, because I started the channel with, I never believed I'd get like 200 subscribers, let alone 1,300 subscribers. So lately there was a gap of 4 years where I didn't see my magical partner Soleil because of various personal reasons, but we hooked up again, and it was, you know old friends, because you just pick up where you left off. But there was also another 2 girls that I hadn't met before, one from America who'd flown specially in to see Soleil, and another girl from Elgin who was going to. So we did the first part of the trip to Edinburgh to show Lily. Lily, I hope you're watching. She came all the way over from America to visit Soleil in this beautiful house she's got right on the beach at Spey Bay, which is a beautiful, wild, crazy part of Scotland. And she's got the temple in there. That's where we do all our trips. Very, very sacred space. And I did another. So I got there on the Friday, I can't remember. Anyway, I did the trip the first night with Jill's homegrown mushrooms. Very pleasant, not the turmoil and chaos that I'm usually plunged into with those harsh Scottish mushrooms. Because she'd grown them in the greenhouse, I think they had a very different effect. I saw a lot of shimmering rainbow light. I always get the voice. I don't know if other people who take mushrooms get the voice, but it's like a conversation with you and, I believe, Bobby Hill, Ultraterrestrials. So one of the great things that's happened to me since I got on YouTube is I've met a lot of fascinating people. 2 people in the chat right now, Sarlock's Bobby Hill. Bobby Hale, as you may know, is the somewhat cultish leader of a very dangerous organisation called Temple of Babalon, Choronzon, who are at this moment working with ultra-terrestrials on matters that are secret beyond my ability to talk about them. But so maybe I should talk about my first occult book of the year, and that is the Book of Numbers by the beautiful Temple Babalon Choronzon. And this is basically the early stuff. It goes into a lot of the Ufonauts, John Keel. See, this is why I love Babalon Choronzon so much, is they're not traditional in any way. They're like an art-producing, multimedia, magical mashup machine. And ALW Cypher, which I discussed with Kath Thompson. I also wanted to celebrate some past guests. Kath around in the, I believe, late 70s, when a guy called, oh God, I've forgotten his name. What's his name again? Bobby. Hey, Stephen. Jim Lees. They worked on the cipher in the Book of the Law, Liber Alvel Legis, and they found this ALW cipher, and it's uncannily works. Although I don't even believe in the reception story of Liber Alvel Legis. I had Richard Cole on my channel, a very funny, cynical, but he still believes in magic. He totally endorses the Aeon of Horus, and if anyone can't see the Aeon of Horus around us, I think it's a lot to do with this digital revolution that's taken place. I mean, when before could a little lonely dude in Aberdeen with an interest in the occult meet the movers and shakers of the modern occult world? There was no chance. But now with the internet, it's all on. So yeah, the ALW cipher is, well, I won't explain it in detail, but it brings, like any gematria, it brings up fascinating results. But I do stand by my belief that any sufficiently complex work of genius can be, you could get a cipher out of it and you could use gematria on it. Prime example, Bobby and Leah and Groucho and myself, Bobby and Leah came up with the Twin Peaks thing, and it's, David Lynch is a fucking genius. And his work is, there's so many synchronicities and little, and Bobby is an expert with the fucking numbers. I get the words, I haven't got the energy to do the numbers, so I pass them to Bobby and he gets them out. And I must say, before I forget, there's a new book coming out. I'll show you the other one in a minute, which is even more beautiful than numbers, but it's going to be like kind of a bumper listening post alpha. That's what we call our organisation. I'm listening post Aberdeen, we've got Tennessee, so we use I think it's called a PBS7, correct me if I'm wrong, Bobby. I don't do any research, this is off the cuff after a hard day at work, but it's called the Spirit Box. I was actually introduced to it by Samantha Shadow, and we try to do it like online, so I was expecting that you would hear like a disembodied ghost voice, but what happens is it just scans through FM or AM stations really quick, so you'll get a word here and a word there, and the words that you can perceive, you write down, and wow, often it's a complete narrative, like I would call a channeling that Bobby does will link directly to one that I've done and one that Leah's done, and it's really fun. I honestly think I could compare it to Templar Psychic Youth. Why not? Favourite book in the universe, number 2, which is what's it called again? The House of Every Flower. Now, I think it's got a matte cover instead of a shiny cover, and I think this is a massive. It's just so beautiful, and in it they've got all their Leah's fantastic paintings and cut-ups, and this is what really me about the more artistic end of occultism. You know, surrealism, Dada was very informed by the occult, and they're cooking up a fucking storm there with Temple Babalon Choronzon, and I'm absolutely honoured to be part of it. We are doing a group stream somewhere near Samhain or Samhain. I think we said the 30th of October. And Sir Lux, I'm reading your emails as well. We're just waiting for the right time, brother. So, yeah. And I must mention also Keats Ross, Derek Hunter, Lux, the girl that does the podcast, who else? Eric Miller, all Keats's crew, We the Hallowed, another fantastic source of multimedia, magical art, mathematical magic. And of course we'll have the annual Haunt Quinox, where invited guests, shall we say, are asked to contribute an original piece of art, video, put it in. Any guys in chat, if you're on the Saroth Maze channel, you qualify to put in a little entry and you'll get played. And you know, it's hours long. It's like the occult Woodstock of the year. So yeah, that's groovy. So I think I'll maybe go into every flower a little bit deeper. I mean, it's full of absolutely gorgeous art. Cups, which you know I love, and some very deep, in fact I'm not going to say more about it. Buy it, it's very cheap. I will put the link to this book in the show notes, but it's fantastic. The next book I would like to discuss, not just I'm plugging my friend's books, but Derek Hunter, End of the World. Now Derek is a prolific writer. Derek Hunter, Los Angeles. He's been an absolute total friend to me. You know, I have big periods where I don't get in touch with anyone and I just kind of mump about and sulk. And Derek has stayed with me. He's encouraged and supported me. We did a great interview about his writing on my channel, which you should maybe go back and have a look at. He's got a very individual writing style, very individual magic style, and a great story. You know, he's been through the whole... I doubt if there is a viewer amongst my audience that hasn't gone through alcohol or drug issues at some point, and you know, we've been through it, and we've got a redemption arc where we're out the other side, kind of, as he drinks his next glass of wine. But you know, it's the what they say, it's the less of two, it's the lesser of two evils. Yes, but you know, I'd rather drink wine than be addicted to opiates for the rest of my life. Okay. Right. See this one? Right. So this is a Fender. I wish it was a Fender. It's a Squire. Just a little Squire Jazzmaster. It doesn't have the distinctive sort of semicircle there, but that's no problem to me. And never having a guitar before, it's the best guitar I've ever had, because it really, you can take a beat. book in my series of favourite occult books of recent months is Richard T. Cole's 666 Sex and the New Aeon of Horus. It's a kind of... he's written loads of books, but the first book I read, I'm drunk, was Liber Bogus, where he kind of proves that Aleister Crowley could not have received the Book of the Law in Cairo on the, what is it, the 9th, 10th, 11th of April, something like that. But he still posits that Aleister Crowley was one of the most important people ever, because he spotted this change from the Aeon of Osiris, which is all death, sacrifice, Christianity, all that kind of stuff, into this new age of Horus, which I absolutely firmly believe in. My other, when I first joined the occult community online, it was the Horus Mat Lodge that I seemed to click with, because I'd read Magic, I really liked it. I'd actually came across the Nima Anahandra essay, Crows in a Cornfield, I think it is, where they were doing this kind of hippie, I can imagine them. I actually had a dream last night that I was living in a kind of hippie commune on a bus, and it was just so joyful. I think Nima, I can imagine them just all scurly whirly and dirty feet and dancing around this big crop, whatever. And this being appears called Ion or something. It's been a long time since I've read it, but it had a very deep influence on me, because it was like very back to, it was a predecessor of Liber Null and Psychonaut, which was probably the most influential book of my teens, and it kept some of that aesthetic, but it was like very blood, bodily fluids, wine, fantastic. That's what magic should be to me. It shouldn't be fasting and purifying yourself. It should be throwing yourself off balance with as much drugs and kinky sex as humanly possible. But that's just me. Okay, next very important book for me, even though I didn't understand 3/4 of it, is Alien Information Theory by Dr. Andrew Gallimore. And it's, to be honest, I'm not crazy about the kind of, 8-bit graphics and stuff. It must have seemed like a good idea at the time, but it does get in the way of a very technical book. But what this guy posits is, he's a neuroscientist, but he's also very into DMT. And what he thinks is, now, implausible as it seems, he says that there are grades to civilization, and one of the tests that you pass to get into this timeless dimension is to discover DMT. So that, if because a chimpanzee couldn't really distill DMT from a vine and a bit of bark, so he has that as the first test of intelligence. Then he posits that there are civilizations millions of years ahead of us, which have dispensed with our physical bodies and somehow embed themselves in the quantum, the tiny, tiny, tiny universe that's all around us. Everywhere we look is another universe, microcosm, macrocosm. And I think that would be a pretty much a unified theory for spirits. All paranormal activity and experience could be described by the mechanisms in this book, and DMT. But I was speaking to Denny Sargent about this. We did we got on straight away. He's such a nice guy, and we talked for an hour and a half non-stop, very exciting, bubbly conversation, and I realised I hadn't fucking pressed record. There is a show with Denny, but I don't think it was quite as good as the first one, although he's brilliant. I wasn't as good. But we were talking about Austin Osman Spare's idea of atavistic resurgence. You know, when you look at a book called Werewolf Magic, you think a bit gimmicky, but when you actually read it, nothing gimmicky about it. It's what we all are doing, but are now scared to say we're doing because the word has been deemed as cultural appropriation. And that's something my next book, the big one, last book actually, is Jake Stratton-Kent's Geosophia. I mean, I've got them all. I've got the True Grimoire one. I've got this series. But I think what Volume 1 Geosophia proves is that Europeans have a very authentic shamanic tradition, which is the Goetia. Goetia means howling, originally employed at funerals to help the spirit of the dead get through the It's all about the underworld. It's all about, chthonic sorcery and all that stuff. And it's absolutely fascinating. And that's what we should be heading for. I am also, you know, the New Age is an expression of the New Age of Horus. The digital technology is a new expression of the Aeon of Horus. I believe, Bobby, what Aeon did you say it was again? You know, there's a lot of this stuff. Bobby, what Aeon is it again? Remember, Seshat came through in one of my sessions, and there's also Matt. You know, there was this complicated, I think it was, was it George? No, it wasn't George Cecil Jones. It was one of Crowley's other disciples that reread the Book of the Law and inserted Matt into there somewhere, and that's where the Matt Magic and Horus Matt Lodge comes from. And I really like it because I think that the fiery, childish, vengeful attitude of Horus is tempered by Maat and, you know, the truth and the feather, which, you know, in Egyptian mythology, when you die, your heart is placed on a scale and you get one feather from Maat, and if your heart is Maat's feather, you're doomed to, I don't know, hang about in swamps or something. You don't make it to the Western Lands, which is another theme that I'm interested in. William Burroughs wrote a great novel called The Western Lands, and it's all about his take on Egyptian mythology and mummies and trying to survive. You know, William Burroughs was a very futuristic writer, and I am right along with him. I don't think we should be looking backwards in magic. I think we should be looking forward to transcending, you know, the singularity. And to be honest, I haven't even Googled what singularity means. It just means something very special. But I think, and I mentioned this the other day, that human beings are just an evolutionary step. We are, as we speak, creating super intelligent artificial intelligence, so-called artificial intelligence. It was born from us, who were born from the one single cell that's split into two. So, you know, us creating artificial life, I don't see why it's artificial. If it's conscious, it's life. It isn't conscious yet, but I believe that that's the next step in evolution. That's the singularity, and that's when we'll be able to travel through space, travel through time, you know, communicate with the dudes that I see when I smoke DMT. It's not dudes with, you know, like poetic, medieval kind of garb. It's manted beings like 7 feet high with a little blue scarf. It's huge snakes, mother snakes. You know, I always wondered why, when I took psychedelics after doing magical ritual, which you would think would tune me into that goetic kind of symbolism, no, nothing like that. It's like lion people in lycra on spaceships, and yeah, so I don't know, there's a disconnect there. And as much as I enjoy listening to traditional, well, what's traditional? Like, well, no, I don't think I've ever talked to traditional step-by-step, you know, you 4 o'clock in the morning, you chop a hazel tree branch off with one stroke with a golden knife. You know, who can do that in the modern world? Who has got the time to do that? That was what Aaron Leach would call, I think he coined the term, the clerical underground. We're just who were like priests who were maybe sacked or disgraced or just doing magic because you know, they could read, and magic is the one golden thread that goes throughout all philosophy, literature, art. There's something hidden behind genius, and that's the occult. And that's why I was attracted to Aleister Crowley, because he said he had a system that could produce genius, and he might have been right. I would say we're in post-thalamic times now. I like that post-thalamic. Like I liked post-rock with bands like Mogwai and, you know, do you know Mogwai at all? They're a Glasgow band. They're fucking amazing. It's just like gorgeous, kind of trippy feedback. That's kind of My Bloody Valentine, but less strumming. It's just waves of noise that hit you again and again and again. Glasgow, you know, Scotland. I love you. I don't think I ever really need to leave Scotland, unless I was coming to America, of course, to visit my friends. So I'll tell you a little bit about my holiday. So I hadn't seen my magical partner, Soleila, for like 4 years due to personal stuff. And I was nervous to meet her again because I'd really seriously let her down. But she got in touch and she said, look, we've got this, everything's paid for. Meeting a girl from the Thoth page, which me and her created many years ago. And it's kind of, we don't put much work into it, but it could be resurrected, you know, but it was all about the Thosis thing, and it seems like that's behind me anyway. So this girl from America had come over, so when I visited Jill, she's got a beautiful house just near the beach. It's like a shingle and pebbly beach, and it's just wild. So we're there for 2 nights. I did my trip on the second night, very nice. You know, I think I said this in my last interview, but it's like defragging the brain, having a meaningful psychedelic experience. You wake up in the morning, or you're still awake in the morning, you stumble out to the light and you see the stars and the sea. Absolutely fantastic. So after that we went to Edinburgh, and our main scheduled stop was Roslin Chapel, the should I say infamous chapel just outside Edinburgh in Scotland, which is rumoured, you know, the Da Vinci Code, that's what that was. And I have a very good friend I've known for many years, Chris. If you're watching, Chris, how's it going, man? He does tours of Roslin Chapel now. I'm actually going to get him on the channel because he knows a shitload about the history of the place. Roslin actually means rose line, and it's kind of ley lines and all that kind of stuff. He's done so much research, he's going to be fascinating. So we went to Roslin Chapel, absolutely awesome. It's got Moses with horns it's got loads of pagan stuff in there, green men everywhere. To be honest, it's carved out like sandstone, and it seems surface Christian, but underneath there is a lot of pagan symbolism there, and the history of it is absolutely fascinating. So look it up, guys. Roslin Chapel. And if you're ever wanting to go, Eden Tours is my friend Chris, who I'm going to have on the programme. So after Edinburgh, Edinburgh is just a beautiful, it feels so old. It is very old, All the streets in the middle are kind of paved and the bars, and it's a very artistic, groovy, international city. It's got a lot of foreign students. Ultimately, nice comments. James Donnelly, greetings. Jim! Jim, how's it going, man? So this is what I do on my, my downtime. Jim's a legend, by the way. So where was I? So after Roslin, we went to Stornoway, which was very exciting because I'd never, I'm not much of a traveller because of my predilections for alcohol and drugs. If you take me out of Aberdeen, I just start getting ripped off everywhere by Rastafarians, or indeed, no, it is, yeah, okay. That's not racist, it's just it tends to be. So we went to Stornoway on the ferry. I've never been on a boat before in my life, although my dad was a captain in the Merchant Navy. Very smooth on the way in, very choppy on the way out. 3, Jill, Lily and Sarah, all sick. Me, nah, my dad gave me sea legs, obviously. So, yes, Stornoway was fantastic. Ullapool was really nice. I've never been to the west coast. I'm on the east coast where everything is like loads of trees and beautiful colours. D-side. Anyone who has never been to Scotland has got to go to D-side. Ballater, Braemar, yeah, that road. And come to Aberdeen. Aberdeen is actually improving culturally and visually. Much more, for a while it was just an oil town. Nothing doing, but now it's got like little, they're trying to make it like Edinburgh or Glasgow, I don't know. Right, anyway, what's this got to do with magic? So, when we got to Stornoway, me, Soleil and 2 that were kind of strangers to me, we all absolutely bonded. It was beautiful. I get social anxiety meeting new people, even though I can, because I'm only talking to a camera now, you see. If I was in a room full of people, I'd be shy, or I'd be drunk, or high. So yeah, we got on marvellously, and thank God we had a car, because I think Stornoway is only 36 miles wide, but the roads are like, crazy loop. So we got there, Callanish Stones. I had imagined arriving there at night and, thunder and lightning and doing a live stream. But of course we went in the afternoon because there's very little light on that, there's very little street lights in Stornoway. You've only got maybe a block, and then the rest is just in total darkness, which is beautiful because you can see the stars. And so after the trip, going to the Callanish Stones, I always get this theme when I'm tripping about like Vikings and, coming from the far icy north and getting in boats. I don't know. I honestly think that mushrooms somehow, they're obsessed with DNA. And I think they try and show you like your past, or I don't know. Maybe it's all just when psychedelics first came out, they called them like suggestibles or something, because people under the influence of them would be told, "Oh yeah, you're an Indian prince," and they would, "Oh yeah, I'm an Indian prince." So I don't know. I'm always cynical and skeptical, which is important for an observer on the occult scene, I think, because it takes a lot to prove me that there's something supernatural going on. But I do think those limits have been achieved by Temple Babalon, Choronzon, baby. There's just too much meaningful shit. I think we are the only modern. Well, I wouldn't say the only. We are one of the only modern receivers of ultra-terrestrial information, whatever that may be, because Bobby and Leah have worked of blasphemy and just craziness, Jake Stratton-Kent, God bless him, speedy recovery and all that. But he, we're talking about what preparations, what's your daily practice and all that. And I mentioned, getting balanced with meditation and stuff. But we came to the conclusion that it was actually unbalance. If you're perfectly balanced, there's no static, there's no friction, so nothing happens. It's stasis. What you need for creation and magical energy is imbalance. And I go back to Rimbaud, the French poet, the profound disordering of the senses, William Blake, the doors of perception, all that shit about getting out of your head on psychedelics, and you really do see the world anew. And now I've got DMT. That's a whole different ball game. What Andrew Gallimore, sorry, and I'm trying to get him on the channel, but I can't get him on his email address. I mean, I've seen him go on channels with like 50 subscribers, so surely he'd come on mine. Very bright English guy. But what they're doing is they're trying, because the DMT experience, you're blasted into this alternative reality, and before you can even get your bearings, you're coming down. It's literally like a 1 minute, 2 minute experience. So what Andrew Gallimore and his colleagues are doing is, and Julian Vane told me some of his friends have done this. It's like super extended DMT trips where you're getting it drip fed, because it's apparently got all the qualities necessary for a anesthetic. It's short acting and it can be regulated. They don't want something that's going to wipe you out for 8 hours. They want the short acting so they can just keep it at a level. So I'd be absolutely fascinated with anyone who's been through that prolonged DMT experience. Contact me, please. Saroth222@gmail.com. I've got a Facebook channel called this. It's like a group, the Saroth Image Experiment. I'm wanting to do a little bit more with that as well. Yeah, so I think in very literal terms sometimes. There's a fight between, I think it's my Aquarian skeptic and my Leo rising wants to believe, but I'm not so interested in like results magic and hoodoo. I would hate to call it low magic, but I really am more interested in kind of mysticism, getting answers to what is actually going on in the universe. Are there parallel universes? Are we living in a multiverse? Are we living in a simulation? all that kind of stuff. That's what interests me. So if you can think of any guests that could talk cogently on this matter, I would be most appreciative of it. Doesn't sound very in tune, does it? That's horribly. Oh no, I've got the right. Okay, chaps, have I sufficiently talked through all the books? Yes, I have. How long have I been? I don't care. Well, it's really nice to see a few people in chat. I will, if you like me doing this kind of shit, I will do it again. Please put comments, likes. The Saroth Imagick experiment. I think it's going to really blossom. It's not professional like Glitchball or What Magic Is This. It's supposed to be kind of the opposite of that. Just me talking honestly with no presentation, very little research. Keep it real, babies. I'm the punk rock grunge. Post-rock, post-thelema, post-occult even. Okay, good night, fellows. Thank you very much for showing up. Bobby Hale, Stephen Ronan, Paracelsus, Alistair Crowley, Giles de Wraith, Joan of Arc. Wow, a lot of famous dead people in the chat tonight. Okay, good night, guys.